If you haven't met me already, my name is Kelly. I own Dogkind. I specialize in very fearful dogs, helping them build confidence. And today I'll talk about how to help your dog learn how to engage with and enjoy food toys, food puzzle toys, so that you can use them when you have guests over during the holidays when it's busier. Anytime where you want to give your dog something enjoyable to do and you can't entertain them directly. If your dog is distressed by holiday guests, we can train them to entertain themselves by training them to use food puzzle toys. This is for you if you have an anxious or fearful dog and you're pretty sure the holidays will be stressful and your dog doesn't consistently work on food toys when guests are around, or when they're separated from you, or maybe your dog won't use food toys at all. So how can we teach a dog to use food toys? I have always had dogs who are, with the exception of my late dog Jasper, my dogs have been, at least initially, not incredibly excited about using food toys. But they're such a useful tool to have. So how can we get our dogs working on these? It helps to remember that working on food toys is a trainable behavior, or really a group of behaviors, which means we can train it, which is good news. So you'll want to identify when your dog can do the behavior. This is just a general overview strategy. Practice over and over again, so your dog strengthens that behavior of working on the food toy, and then generalize and add difficulty, which in the case we're talking about here for the holidays may include moving them into situations where there are guests. So if your dog doesn't use food toys at all, or if they will use food toys but not when visitors are present, one thing I like to do is start with the easiest possible food toys. What's been most successful with my dogs and with my students' dogs include Lickimats, either silicone or the hard plastic kind. The important thing is that they're easy for the dog to get food out of and they don't move around wherever you place them on the floor. Snuffle mats, and just a basic snuffle mat like the one in the foreground in this photo on the right. Some of the more sort of the fancier activity mats now will come with things that make noise, like crinkly noises or even squeakers in them, and I wouldn't recommend that to start. Another food toy I like early on, because it's pretty easy to use to get food out of, is something like a Westpaw Topple, which is an open cup shape. So the links to all of the toys that I'm mentioning will be below where you're watching this video. Here are some photo examples of those food toys. This is a hard plastic Lickimat that has a couple different textures on it, and it's filled with a lot of different things. You don't have to make it this complicated. These are examples of simpler, just silicone Lickimats that I use pretty frequently with my dogs. This is a simple fleece snuffle mat that Pancake is eating out of here. All it is strips of fleece woven through like a plastic mat. And these are the Westpaw Topples that I mentioned. There are large dog and small dog sizes. So you can see it's just an open cup. There are some little finger-like projections coming out of them to make it a little more difficult, and that you can attach food to, but they're pretty, amongst sort of stuffable food toys, they're one of the easier ones to start with. Once you've chosen what simple food toys you want to start with, again, this could be starting from scratch. Your dog doesn't like food toys at all, or, well, my dog likes food toys, but not when there are visitors around. You'll want to sort of approach it the same way. So you've got your simple food toys, whether it's Lickimat, Snuffle Mat, or Topples. These are examples. They might not be the best thing for your dog, but they're what has worked well for me. You want to use something that is high value and pretty easy to get out. With a Lickimat, you want something lickable. I often use canned dog food since it's relatively healthy, but I will go with something a little junkier at times, like easy cheese or peanut butter. You can also do something like yogurt or other dairy products, and you don't want to freeze this. You can freeze Lickimats, but I wouldn't freeze them to start. Snuffle mats, I usually use small treats that are either the semi-moist kind or crunchy ones, but you can also use little bits of cheese like shredded cheese or tiny cheese cubes. You can use just plain kibble. Any of that can work. And for the topple, you can use any of this stuff. You can use lickable treats or you can use crunchy or semi-moist treats, you want to add a generous amount of whatever it is you are going to put in the topple. Put it at the top, or at least make sure some of it's at the top so your dog gets some reinforcement right away when they engage with the toy. If you're putting loose treats in it, make sure that they're not packed in tightly so they'll easily come out. And again, don't freeze the topple when you're starting out introducing this to your dog. So just a few examples. Here's one of the simpler silicone Lickimats, and in this one I put 3 different fillings. I have some canned dog food and some easy cheese and some peanut butter, and that sometimes that can make it more attractive if you have say I mostly have canned dog food on this, but I have some of the richer, possibly tastier fillings included. That can be a way to have some of that food that's more like junk food present without having it be too much and making your dog sick. Topples, I've got loose treats in the one on the left, and then the one on the right I have wet dog food, and that either of those will work. The wet dog food will probably last a little longer, will take longer for your dog to get it out. And then here's that basic fleece snuffle mat, and those are just examples in the background of some treats I currently am using frequently. The Fruitables Skinny Minis, because they're lower calorie and seem to be pretty high value for my dogs, and also these liver training treats. And again, I'll place the links below this video. Once you have your treat, your food toy, one of those easy ones, and you filled it with something good, then how can you introduce it to your dog? If this is the first time you're just trying to get your dog interested in food toys in general, pick the easiest context in which to provide the food toy. So that might be their favorite place to hang out in the house, you nearby or far away, depending on which one is easier for your dog, what situation lends itself to them eating. So early on, for instance, Pancake wouldn't eat if I were anywhere nearby. I had to be very quiet and in another room or not home. But now he's more likely to eat if I'm in the same room with him. So kind of depends on your dog. So in their favorite place, use somewhere that is helpful to the process. Most dogs, not all, but a lot of dogs, I would say, will do better if they are not confined. But again, for some dogs, it doesn't matter. For Pancake, in the beginning, he didn't care about being confined. He also didn't care about being close to me or preferred not to be close to me. And now he is more comfortable if he's near me and not confined. So that doesn't mean you can't work up to having the dog being confined. And in fact, that can be quite important for using food toys and managing your dog during the holidays. But start where it's easiest, which often means no confinement. You want the house to be quiet, so don't start this training when there are visitors at home or you have visitors over. And try to strategically introduce these food toys when your dog is actually likely to be hungry. That increases the chances that they'll give it a try, and then they will, hopefully that behavior of trying out the food toy will be reinforced because they'll get tasty food. So here are your action steps for starting this food toy training with your fearful dog. Buy and try some easy food toys, and again, I'll include some links below this video. Use the easiest and highest value fillings that you can give your dog, without upsetting their tummies. And provide the food toys in the easiest, most relaxed context you can come up with, and when they're likely to be hungry. This is a way to get them just interested in using food toys at all. And then you can start working on getting your dog to use food toys in harder contexts when there are visitors. Okay, as we head into more holiday time, I thought this might be a good time to remind you, if you don't have this already, to get your free guide to creating your dog's Zen zone, which is kind of a safe, quiet haven that you can condition your dog to be comfortable in when there are visitors over. This is a PDF guide and also has quite a few links to photos and videos showing you how to set it up. And the link is at the bottom of the slide here, dogkindtraining.com/zenzone. So I hope that helps you have a more peaceful holiday with your fearful dog.